think is that, so we'll start with the day's politics here, and then after that we'll take a look at some education matters, and at the end we'll take a look at Kenya Power, and I think we are good off. Good morning. Welcome to Citizen Extra, the first episode of the new year. Just carrying out some last-minute preparations for the show with my director here, Winnie, and Mombasa as well, who'll be running the mix-up for us today. We've got an exciting show lined up for you over the next 4 hours or so. We'll be taking a look at the latest in the day's politics, business. We'll also be looking at education matters, Form 1 students going back to school this week. A lot of challenges ahead in that sector. We'll be talking about that and sports as well. My name is Wahiga Mora. Let's get straight into studio. And of course, we value your feedback on this show, so we require to hear from you about what are your thoughts about some of the topics we'll be talking about today. Talk to us. 22422 is our SMS line, and you can also talk to us on our social media platforms at Citizen TV Kenya, on Twitter and Facebook as well. Use the hashtag Citizen Extra. But for now, let's take a look at the big stories that we'll have in our bulletin today. Right, all eyes on Uhuru's cabinet this week as former Marsabit Governor Uhuru Kenyatta, former Turkana Senator John Munyez, and the former Director of Public Prosecutions Keriako Tobiko will be vetted from tomorrow by the relevant parliamentary committees. What will happen to the 13 cabinet secretaries that were not reappointed last week? And when will Uhuru unveil the other names that will form part of our discussion today? Meanwhile, Deputy President William Ruto yesterday tweeted that all is well in Jubilee under the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta, as sections of the media questioned the absence of the Deputy President at Uhuru's press briefing last week. The Deputy President specifically pointed out that Jubilee members he asked to avoid useless political debates. Well, you can expect incisive analysis and more regarding that on this show shortly. Elsewhere, an estimated 1 million Form 1 students are expected to enroll in secondary schools across the country between tomorrow and Thursday. But challenges abound as a section of national schools selected by the Ministry of Education to have day streams have expressed unpreparedness to admit these day scholars. The schools have said that the government gave them a short notice and will not be admitting day scholar students this year. In addition, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development yesterday stated that textbooks have been distributed to all secondary schools. The government has spent at least 7.5 billion Kenya shillings on the new direct-to-school textbook supply program to ensure every Form 1 has 6 textbooks covering the 4 subjects. Of course, we'll be giving you the latest regarding this later on in this broadcast. And finally, later on in the show, we host former LSK chairperson Apollo Mboya, who wants the Competitions Authority of Kenya to stop Kenya Power from inflating power bills, stating that they are misusing their monopoly. He has given the authority at least 7 days to respond or face unspecified consequences. We'll be talking about that and so much more when he joins us in the program today. I also have analysts here in studio, and I'll be introducing them to you shortly. But before that, let's take a look at what's happening in the counties right now. We're taking a look at the expectations of Kenyans, even as President Uhuru Kenyatta, before the end of this month, is expected to have named all his cabinet secretaries. But we want to know from our correspondents on the ground, what do residents in their respective regions feel should be the core skills and competencies of the men and women that will make up Uhuru's incoming cabinet. Let's start with John Wanyama, who is in Uasin Gishu County. John, Happy New Year and good morning to you. We want to find out from you, what do residents of Uasin Gishu feel about what sort of skills and competencies should the men and women that will form the next cabinet have? John, tell us about that.
Happy New Year, Wahiga Mwaura, and it's good also to see you this morning. And as you've said, in Uasin Gishu County, people are having the different views on this issue of CS appointment, and especially for now, residents are just talking in low tones, saying that since the president has not really mentioned the full list of the CS, they are saying let's wait to see what will be coming out, and all names have been mentioned. But for now, most residents here, especially in Uasin Gishu, especially for that position of CS for agriculture, that is what they are waiting really to see who will be appointed for that position. And as you know, this is the food basket for this country. So they are praying that the president and the deputy president will be choosing someone who really understands what the challenges farmers go through. But with me, Wahiga Mwaura, I'm with the political analyst Jebunet. Maybe Jebunet, if you can just paint a picture for us, come here close to us here. What do you think about this President Uhuru Kenyatta's appointment last week?
Thank you very much. I think it's the prerogative of the president really to do the appointments. The issue of the cabinet must be not more than 22. And also it should be not less than 14. So the president is acting according to the constitution, that the cabinet will be appointed in accordance with the constitution. That is, he will put in place the gender rule, that is the 2/3 gender rule, and he will also put in the face of Kenya and really regional balance. So really the issue of the cabinet, people are interested in the manifesto, in the Jubilee manifesto. What have they done for Kenyans and what is remaining? So that will guide the president in his appointments.
In regional balance, do you mean that if it's Rift Valley, someone who must be given a position must be coming from this region? Is it a must, or we need someone who is competent to work for us?
I think it doesn't matter who is appointed. For now, the president wants to leave a legacy and wants to put food on the table of Kenyans. So I think whoever is appointed, I think the president will just consider merit, because any Kenyan can be appointed. Remember the other time someone was even picked from the opposition, the late General Ngaiseri, because of his development record. So the president will really go for merit, not sycophancy and not people who are close to him. The other thing is we should not be worried so much that people who are close to William Ruto will be left. William Ruto knows that the people he has to deliver. They have to deliver in the manifesto. So everybody, also the deputy president included, know that it is the manifesto of Jubilee that should be fulfilled. So really we should not be worried that who is left out and who is not. And also Wanyama, remember that this is the president's prerogative to appoint anybody. So whoever is left out, I think Kenyans have hangovers of the Nusumukate government, where there's a lot of noise when so and so is left. We should depart from that and know that in order not to get power, I think William Ruto has learned from what happened to Raila Odinga. So really there should be a balance in terms of regional balance and whichever.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chambonet, for talking to us for Citizen Extra. Wahiga Mwaura, the thing here is that Kenyans are really keen on who will be working for them, not really that person who comes from that particular region. That is what Chambonet is putting across. They want competent person who will come and deliver for them as a nation, but not a ministerial post as belonging for a particular community. From this side, Mwaura, we are still following up on these issues, and later on, Mwaura will be coming back to you maybe to check on how Uasin Gishu County government has really managed to clean Uasin Gishu County by removing all, especially Eldoret town, by removing all street children, and where have they taken them and what are they doing? Mwaura.
Thank you, John Wanyama. Definitely we'll be coming back to get more updates on what you've just mentioned to us at the tail end of your link there. Staying on with the same story now, Deputy President William Ruto has dismissed talks of an apparent rift between him and his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, over the naming of new members to the cabinet. Now, Ruto's absence on Friday, where the president named part of the new team, was seen by some as a sign that the DP did not approve of the action. However, Ruto yesterday took to social media to defend the president, telling off those engaging in what he terms as useless political debates on appointments and succession. And as Jackie Maribe reports, the DP says we should let the president do his job.
That President Uhuru Kenyatta would on Friday emerge from behind these State House walls to address the nation in the absence of his second-in-command threw many into clouds of speculation.
Thank you very much.
They have, in the administration, always treated the public not just to a show of a united front, but a bromance as well. President Kenyatta's announcement of part of his cabinet coincided with his DP's return to the country after his Christmas family vacation. And as speculation continued to mount, Ruto would Sunday take to social media to dispel any talk of a rift between him and his boss. Ruto tweeting, Kenyans, more so Jubilee, should avoid useless political debates about positions including 2022 and focus single-mindedly on delivering our manifesto voted for by the people, while allowing the president the space to perform his constitutional duty to assemble the team for us. It is understood that the constitution of the second-term Jubilee cabinet was one the Jubilee honchos kept close to their chest, Kenyatta and Ruto in close consultation all through. But it is the delicate balance between legacy and succession politics that has continued to inform debate. The second phase of the cabinet unveiling expected within the next 2 weeks, with the administration keen to take off by February. The fate of the 13 cabinet secretaries, Citizen TV can authoritatively report, is also not foregone. Some of the 13 are going to survive the axe. Some confirmed as being on the exit door. The Kenyatta-Ruto duo is taking precaution to ensure they constitute a team that is all work and delivery. The Big Four action plan, a key plank in determining how the seats will be filled. Jubilee leaders as well quick to come to Kenyatta's defense.
Let's stop creating issues that don't exist. We are satisfied with the way the president is doing it. We don't have that mindset of Nusumkati. I think that is the hangover you guys are suffering from. That this guy and that guy have to sit and do. No. The president and the deputy president are working together.
Ministry of Labor and Social Services. Because of NSSF, because of the retirement, pension schemes, social security of our people. Lakini wasiweke hiyo ya East Africa. East Africa has nothing to do with workers.
Majority Leader in the National Assembly, Aden Duale, tweeting, "We have one government which is led by Uhuru Kenyatta. All of us, including me and the DP, are behind our leader, and we endorse every decision he takes." Those who are speculating on the absence of the DP want to create a controversy where there is none.
Well, we want to pose a question to you today. For you watching at home, talk to us on 22422. That's our SMS line, and on social media as well. We're asking you, what are the skills and competencies you expect from the final list of men and women that will populate the cabinet of President Uhuru Kenyatta? What are your thoughts regarding what sort of skills those individuals should bring into the, the highest leadership of the country? And I'll be reading your SMSs even as we carry on with this show. But for now, let me introduce my guest in studio. So glad to have Dansan Omari, an advocate of the High Court, joining us today. He's at the far right there. Right next to him, Mary Mwangi, a political analyst. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
For both of you. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Is it too late to wish you Happy New Year?
No,
I don't think so.
Not at all.
Still is Happy New Year. The whole of this month.
The whole of this month.
The whole of this month.
Okay, we needed to clarify that before we go. Let me get your reactions. You've heard what a gentleman in Washington Gishu was saying. You've heard the story, and Mary, let me come to you as well. Your thoughts? Much ado over nothing. Trouble in paradise. Where do you stand, especially with the debate about the absence of the deputy president and the fact that things look a little bit different from the way they were in 2013?
Well, not so much, because 2013, the president and the deputy did a bit of what we're seeing today, in the sense that they gave us a couple of names that they had appointed to the cabinet and waited until they had the right people, the right team. And we're seeing this happening even now. The absence of the deputy president is not so much telling in that there's a rift. I believe that Uhuru is right now buckling down to work. We've had so much political speculation going on for the past few months, and they want to start working. The individuals we would like to see on that cabinet are people who are going to be able to deliver in terms of competence, in terms of getting the job done. We do not want people who are going to pander to politicians. What C.S. Matiang'i, for example, has done is ruffled the entire education sector. We have seen changes we did not expect. Schools being told that they have to now admit children into day scholars systems. And we've just received information that a lot of these schools are saying no, it's going to take a year to be able to do this. My question would be, why a year? If they tell us they don't have the seating capacity in the classrooms, that's a different question. If they tell us that they don't have the numbers of teachers to handle a greater influx of students, that's a different question. But if you're telling me that I'm not comfortable with this rule and regulation, then there is a problem here.
In fact, I want to talk to you a bit about that, although this wasn't the topic for this hour. But when it comes to schools, some of the national schools are saying they fear that unless they have rules in place to handle day students, they fear that there will be unrest, that these day students will bring in maybe a new culture. Do you see any...
I went to a school that allowed both boarders and day scholars. I was a day scholar, and the same rules that applied to the boarders are the same rules that apply to the day scholars. The only difference was, of course, if we had prep on Saturday, we were told we have to come in uniform. No home clothes or anything fancy, no makeup, no jewelry, and you adhere to these rules and regulations. Once you are in that school, that is what you follow. I find this very upsetting, in a manner of speaking, that this is what we're trying to do to our children. There are some people who are not well suited to boarding. And it has nothing to do with the fact that
there's not enough space for everyone.
Exactly.
Also, yeah.
We saw what happened in certain schools where fires break out and the children can't even access the main entrance to, the dorm facility. So how are we now going to say that all children must be boarders?
Okay. You've actually moved into the next topic. Maybe we'll have you on for that as well. Dancer, I can allow you to get your thoughts in now on the Uhuru Spatial Cabinet.
In 2013, the circumstances were very, very different. So when the Deputy President and President unveiled that, with their shirts rolled up,
ready to do business,
they got serious criticism, the way it is now. So when they were there, the two of them, they still got criticized. When they are doing it differently this time, they are still getting criticism. This is a country where analysts of every nature exist. So to me...
including in studio.
Even in studio. And the President has identified that we are a serious constituency that the State House listens to. So in my own view, this drama that happened where the Deputy President was not there was very strategic. Why? 2013... the Deputy President had no intention to contest in 2017. The Deputy President 2013-2017 was seen to be the engine behind the Uhuru presidency. All major decisions were placed on his desk, that he's the man, he's a big guy. He's a guy who anything that went wrong was blamed. The Deputy President strategically, if he consults me, I'll tell him to lay back more, so that he does not destabilize his voting constituents of 2022. Quite a number of guys are going to lose positions. Strategically, it is only the president who must be seen to have been the one who has denied him or her that position, not the deputy. The deputy wants everybody on board in 2022.
So unlike what others are saying that this could be because of some sort of disagreement, you see a plan that this was intentional and
choreographed plan, one, to make the deputy president start coming out as a statesman, to start coming out as the person who is all accommodating.
By not being
president,
there?
He's not there.
Okay, he wasn't
Whenever
there
any blame arises, you've seen the deputy president's message. Let the president, under the constitutional provisions, do what his job is. That's not my job. So if you lose a job, I don't have the power to appoint you. Duale has done the same thing. That is the prerogative of the president.
Okay.
They are removing any blame. Jubilee promised so many people jobs. The reality is now here that they cannot be able to deliver those promises to all the very many people in NASA, the very many people in Jubilee who were told you'll get appointments. Who deals with it? The president is not going to be in the ballot 2022, so the president you cannot hold the president at ransom. So that is my first line of thought, that is true. Number two,
briefly please.
Another direction, another theory could be the president and the deputy want to deflect the discussions from Raila Odinga's being sworn in on 30th.
Create a different story.
So the story now we are dealing with is, why is the president and the deputy president different? The reality, there is no differences. We have taken from the national limelight the Raila Odinga Kalonzo approach. That is another Machiavelli type of running politics. The last theory to me is one. There are those zealots in Jubilee. The zealots who believe that William Ruto cannot ascend to power. The zealots in Jubilee, and that is what the deputy president has said slowly, that especially to Jubilee. The deputy president is Jubilee himself. He's number two, the substantive head number two of Jubilee. So who is that in Jubilee that the deputy president cannot admonish? So he is trying to deflect this story. And one also, he knows very well that in 1974, there was Kenyatta 1, the founding father of the nation. There were attempts to stop the then vice president from ascending power by amending the constitution. So the deputy president is aware that he is a hustler. He has come from an outside destiny. There are people propping Gideon Moi. Is the deputy president trying to put a larger, more than profile? Today,
let me stop you on that. No, that's a good point to take a break, because we need to cross over to Mombasa County. Interesting thoughts that I'll come back to Mary to get a reaction from. But let's now talk to Ashabiki Dusa in Mombasa County, just to let us know what sort of expectations Mombasa residents have in terms of the final list of men and women that will form Uhuru's cabinet. What sort of skills and competencies do they want from those men and women? Asha, what can you tell us from Mombasa County? And of course, Happy New Year to you.
Well, very good morning to you. I'm coming to you live from Mombasa, and shortly I'll be joined by Mombasa residents who will be giving me their reaction concerning the new cabinet which has been appointed last week by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And I'm now joined by some of the residents of Mombasa who I'll be knowing their feelings concerning their cabinet. Naam, tueleze majina yako na hisia zako kuhusiana na baraza la mawaziri ambalo limeteuliwa hivi majuzi na rais.
Kwa majina naitwa Bernard Masulei, na kwangu kulingana na baraza la mawaziri ambao iliteuliwa, kwa hakika si kuona kuwa iliridhisha kabisa. Jambo la kwanza ni sababu kuna wali retain wale mawaziri ambao walikuwemo, na pia wakaleta wengine ambao walikuwa ndani ya serikali ambao wangewa maintain pale na watafute wale wapya. Lakini ile inaonekana kulingana na maoni kwamba serikali ilirudisha wale watu ambao walikuwa walishindwa. Ukiangalia mtu kama yule ambaye alikuwa director wa DPP Kiriako Tobiko, walikuwa wameshindwa na kazi pale ofisini zao, lakini baadaye pia wameletwa katika baraza la mawaziri. So kwangu ninaona baraza la mawaziri haijaridhisha kabisa, na bona serikali ikakuja ikajitoa kuchagua baraza nusu badala ya kuleta baraza nzima, kumaanisha huenda kuna mahali ambapo kazi wameshindwa na kazi. Basi kwangu sioni kama wameridhisha.
Asante sana. I'm joined by another resident. Tuambie majina yako na hisia zako kuhusiana na baraza la mawaziri. Angalia kamera.
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Julius Okiko. Mimi ni resident wa Mombasa na Kafisauni. Na kulingana na mawaziri vile wameteuliwa katika baraza ambalo ni la Uhuru Kenyatta kama rais, ni kwamba hairidhishi kivyo vyote, kwa sababu haija include wa Kenya wote ndani ya hili baraza. Kwa sababu tunapoona kwamba wale ambao wameteuliwa ni kama ambayo ni rewards kwa watu ambao waliwapigia siasa na waliwakampenia. ndio watu ambao wanapewa zawadi. Lakini ukiangalia counties zote 47 ambapo inastahili wawe included ndani ya hii government, the government does not work according with the constitution to inclusivity. Kwa hivyo kitu ambacho tunaona kwamba kuna some areas ambao hawatakuwa included ndani ya serikali. Kwa mfano kama Kisumu County, Nyanza mzima, hakuna mawaziri yoyote ambao tunaona ndani ya serikali. Yule ambaye alikuwa pale ametolewa. Tunakuja Mombasa. Mombasa ni kama ambayo Balala ambaye alikuweko kitambo ndio ameregeshwa. Ni kama ambayo reward ndani ya serikali.
Kwa hivyo tunajiunga na mama. Na mama, tueleze majina yako na hisia zako. Je, ili baraza la mawaziri kina mama hawajatajwa, unahisi vipi?
Nimekata mimi kwa majina naitwa Elizabeth Simiu, mimi nauza magazeti Majengo. Kulingana na baraza mawaziri hatujaridhika kabisa. Hasa kina mama, juzi tuwashangaa mheshimiwa Uhuru akisema yeye mambo ya mama amekataa kabisa. Tena upande wa baraza mawaziri Uhuru ameweka ukabila kabisa. Hakuna watu wamekasirika, hasa ngome za upinzani ametunyanyasa kabisa.
Asante sana. Last resident here, na majina yako na hisia zako kuhusiana na baraza la mawaziri kwa haraka.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Masa, ni mkaji wa Mombasa hapa Majengo. Mimi kwa upande wa mawaziri mimi sifurahishi, maana mimi ni ngome wa NASA, lakini kwa ile maoni yangu naweza pongeza mtu mmoja tu ambaye anaitwa Balala. Balala mchapa kazi, ameteuliwa vizuri. Kwa wale mawaziri wote kwa maoni yangu sifurahishi. Ya pili, upande wa serikali hatujui mwelekeo wa serikali, manake sisi tunangojea tarehe yetu ya 30 baba wetu akishaapishwa.
Naam, asante sana. Those are just by the reaction of some of the residents. There are those who are not satisfied here in Mombasa. They are saying that President Uhuru did not appoint an inclusive government, especially from the women. They are actually complaining that President Uhuru did not include the women. And now back to you, Waihiga, in studio.
Thank you, Asha, for that update. But of course, you know that the president is expected to add more names to that cabinet, and of course, women will of course have to form a part of that cabinet as well. So for I know some of the residents there who are concerned. I'm sure you know some of their concerns might be dealt with when the president next calls a press briefing in regards to the same. Let's now go over to Nyeri County. Martin Munene is on standby to give us an update in regards to, of course, the expectations of Nyeri residents in regards to the kind of men and women they would like to see in Uhuru's cabinet. Martin, good morning. Happy New Year. What can you tell us in terms of an update from Nyeri County?
A very good morning to you, Waihiga Maura, and indeed a happy new year to you this fine morning from county number 19, Nyeri County, where we are looking at what are the expectations of residents in this particular region, especially when it comes to the cabinet secretaries named by President Uhuru Kenyatta and those that he's expected to be naming in the coming weeks. And from this particular county, I am with the County Assembly of Nyeri Speaker, John Kawusha, who's going to be giving us a better look into it, just putting the whole thing into perspective as a leader in this particular region, and is going to be telling us what his thoughts are concerning the people who've already been named, but also the expectations as Nyeri they are having concerning the other CSs who are going to be named. Bona Kagusha, kindly, a very good morning to you. Good morning. I would like to know what is your thought or your take on the number of the CSs the president named, especially when it comes to their competencies and performances. Do you think he did a good job, and what do you think about the ones that he's going to be naming in future?
Thank you very much. One of the things I see is he has named just about 9 ministers out of 22. Of course, you know the total number of possible cabinets that secretaries that you can have is 22. First, I believe this time round the president will actually appoint 22 ministers. I do not think he will appoint 18 like he had done before. And again, what we see is a small portion of that appointment. And so I have had a few people making a bit of noise about not having women who have been nominated to be cabinet secretaries, but I think we are seeing only a small part. It is only the president who has the bigger picture, and so it is only good for us to wait for the whole picture to be unveiled. In any case, it is the president's prerogative to actually appoint the cabinet secretaries. One of the things I hope he will do when he's appointing the other remaining 13, if at all, there will be 13, is, of course, to have the constitutional requirement of the third gender rule, and I believe that that would be easy for him to meet. In any case, I think he has excelled very much in that issue of women appointments. He has done very well. That is in the past, and of course I also expect to see regional balance, just like it is in the few cabinet secretaries that we have seen. We have seen people from coast, we have seen people from northeastern, we have seen people from central, from Rift Valley. I know we may not have seen a few people from a few regions, but I'm sure, and I expect that when now he's doing the next appointment, we will see people from Nyanza region, we will see people also from western, we'll see people from of course other areas like eastern region, so we will see people from those areas. So I do not think we need to be worried about that list, and I am sure once the bigger picture is unveiled, it will be convincing. The other issue that I expect to, and I hope the president can do this time around, is not to put a technocrat cabinet. It is important that he considers to put a more political cabinet, because the work of a cabinet secretary is largely political. And so if we can get experienced politicians also into these positions, it will help us to be able to push the agenda of this country forward. Take, for example, I've had Atwoli complaining about, or rather raising the issue of the cabinet secretary who is appointed in the position of, who is going to be doing the labor relations. And indeed, you see, it is relations. And these things are political. So it's important that we see people who are extremely competent and politically sensitive, who are going to drive the government's agenda ahead in the coming 5 years. Remember, this is also his legacy years. So we expect that he's going to be very, very stern on issues of corruption and such. And I'm happy, anyway, that he has removed the DPP from that position. And my hope and prayer is that he's going to put a person who is going to be straightforward, forthwith, someone who is going to be decisive, someone who is going to raise the whip and actually whip those people who engage in corruption and such kind of issues. So that then, by the time the president is finishing his 5th year, 2022, we can have this country completely changed, and the whole issue of corruption actually, erased from our country evils and ills. Yeah.
All right, and maybe you say that you would prefer that he does political appointments as opposed to technocrats, yet we've seen some of the best performing CSAs in the past have been technocrats. Don't you think that maybe he's going to taint his legacy by appointing people who are more politicians than people who are going to actually work for the Kenyan people?
You have based that question on an assumption that politicians are not going to work, or politicians do not work. Technocrats who were appointed into the cabinet last time, and they have performed very well, are those who are able then to become politicians. The Matiangis of this world. They embraced the issue of politics very well, and they became politicians. And even though they were technocrats, they were able to work as politicians. And so if you get people who have that mix, you can deliver very well for the country. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That is the Nyeri County Assembly Speaker, John Kagusha. Just briefly,
before you conclude, is that Wahiga Mwaura, I know you're there in studio. We are today hosting a very important person, and I had invited you actually. We are hosting the Senator of South Australia, Senator Lucy Geshohe, who is, of course, happens to come from Nyeri. And I think it's really something that we are celebrating as a county, that one of us from this county, born, blend, and educated in this county, has actually been able to rise to a position of a senator in a very powerful country in the world, Australia, and she will be here. She will be paying a courtesy call to the governor, and then she'll be paying a courtesy call to the speaker, and of course we'll be seeing how we can be able to enhance our relations with such a country as a county. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Bwana Kagusha. There are excited about the fact that a resident of Nyeri has made it in a foreign country. But like you said, departing from a lot of views, that he would prefer to see a more more political cabinet as opposed to a more technocrat, one that is brings professionals from other fields in. That is how things are in Nyeri County, and like you said, we expect to see to meet the senator later, and we'll be coming back to that, Wahiga, and that is how things are in this county. Back to you in studio, Wahiga Maura.
Thank you, Martin Munene, for that comprehensive update from Nyeri County, and hopefully we'll come back to you later on when that senator is hosted by the county government. We'll see if we can get back to you at that time. Let's get back to our discussion here in studio, talking a little bit about the cabinet and the intrigues around that. Dansan Omari bring in several theories. I don't know if you believe any of them are true or not. Talk to us. 22422 is our SMS line. They remain theories for now until things play out. Mary, let me give you a chance now to get your thoughts of everything that he mentioned. Did anything really stand out as something that could be probable, likely?
It could be probable, especially the theory where it's a diversionary tactic in that the president announced these cabinet positions without the deputy president being there. A new style, focus on his legacy, deputy president taking a back seat, no longer them being, you know, the group, the pair, the buddies. But one must also point out that we're talking about 22 positions, right? If the president decides to stick to just 19 or 14, that can be done, because you have a number of PS positions, you also have parastatal positions as well, you have the diplomatic positions as well. So there's a lot of leeway here for the president and the deputy to ensure that they have the face of Kenya, that they have political loyalists, they have individuals from the opposition who didn't make it into parliament, and at least give everybody a piece of the pie and keep everybody happy. But as you can see, they're taking their time, they're analyzing it very carefully. Even when we look at these 9 who have been picked, and a lot of people saying, oh, those are not the deputy president's individuals. But look at where they come from, look at their region, look at their affiliations in terms of ethnicity. You're still looking at quite a large number coming from the pastoralist community. We did discuss this with Danston earlier. So these are still people who will be loyal to both the president and the deputy president. I do not see a rift as such. But I do like Dunstan's theories. They're very, very, very interesting.
What do you think about the theory that some felt that when you release the names of a partial cabinet, it allows you as an administration to get feedback? Could that feedback change the final list in any way? What do you think about that?
I do believe it can, because they also want to ensure that they are getting support from the Kenyans. Because remember, we're going to look at 2022, and we keep bringing up that, you know, magical number, because that is what DP Ruto is looking at. And as Dunstan pointed out, he is technically an outsider insofar as, you know, big politics is concerned in Rift Valley. So everybody wants to have some affiliation to whoever it is that will be playing a great role in 2022. We have a number of governors who have also stood up and said they want to run in 2022. We have the Luhya community feeling left out totally. They've been given Senate Speaker, Ken Lusaka. We see Eugene is not in this list so far. However, people must understand that the president still allows these CSs who are still from the previous regime to continue acting as CS until such a time as they are no longer CSs, in that they have given in their resignation or the entire cabinet has been named. So even now, a number of women can be appointed to the cabinet.
And so again, wait and see. Dancer, let me come back to you. What do you expect when we look at the final list? What are your predictions?
My predictions are very clear.
We've had a lot of people saying 22. They expect a complete...
The constitution is very clear. Minimum 14, maximum 22. That is the law, and it cannot change. The president has named 9. By law, he must name the remaining 5.
At least.
By law, maximum. But from there, it is discretionary. When you look at the president's vision, he's saying that he has narrowed his agenda to 4 key areas. 4 key areas, the big 4. So the president's agenda 2013-2017 vis-a-vis 2017 to 2022 is narrower. The president has said he wants a lean government. Is he likely to go with a minimum of 14? My take is the president has completed with a question of male cabinet members of parliament.
You're breaking the hearts of many men in this country at this moment.
The president is remaining to deal with the question of the ladies. The ladies, if the men are 9, a third of that, the ladies will be 4 or 5. So, to me, the president is waiting to name the ladies section. And that marks the end of it. Because the agenda has been narrowed. Number 2.
So finish on that. So if the agenda has been narrowed, you then name a leaner team to achieve very
that,
specific. Is that what you're trying to say?
The president is going home with a legacy of 4 areas. So he needs a leaner team to focus on that area. He has already named 9. He has only the constitutional requirement to name 5. Number 2, when you look at the people named, they have captured the face of the republic. Why? From Nyanza there is Matiang'i. From Coast there is Balal. From the the former northern frontier, there is Uhuru Kenyatta. From the nomadic north of Turkana, there is Munyes. When you come to the Ma community, the Samburus and the Maasais, there is Tobiko. When you come to the Kalenjin nation, from the South Rift, we have Rotich. The North Rift, from North Rift, we have Rotich. The South Rift, the Bomets and the Kipsigis nation, we have Keter. When you come to Central Kenya, the northern part of Central Kenya, Nyeri and the others, they have Macharia. This other side, Musheru is here, where Musheru doubles in Nyeri and he doubles in Kiambu. So when you look at that composition, you have captured the totality of the old provinces. So the president is only looking for small areas of special interest and fixing the levies. So the reality now is people have not moved away from the legacy question of the president. And they are still looking at a captive president who was a captive of commercial interests. When you look at the cabinet and you look at the bloodbath at the police, 3 heads gone home. When you look at the DPP being told to resign, come here, the criminal justice system has totally been overhauled. Totally. Who is the president targeting? At Kasarani he said, it will never be business as normal. The faceless functionaries in public service and private entities who have made the CID headquarters, Mazingira House, who have made the lands office, who have made infrastructure issues a problem, will not be tolerated this time. So if the president has totally overhauled the criminal system, if the president has overhauled the totality of the cabinet, if the president has overhauled the State House, his desk, the controller is out.
A more efficient
and
team.
When you look at the people being appointed like Kinuthia Mbugua, the hard-working former AP commandant is the one in charge. So you are looking at a message being sent that this is a time of hard tackling. And William Ruto should not be part of it.
Let me interrupt you there. I don't know how that last comment came into everything that we've been talking about, but nevertheless, Nikki, let's go over to Nikki Gitonga in Kwale County, get the thoughts of residents there. And Nikki, I want you to be very specific because, the president has not released the full lineup. So, a lot of the speculation remains speculation. But I want to hear from you, what are the expectations in terms of deliverables of the men and women that will form the next cabinet? What do Kwale County residents want to see over the next 5 years from the cabinet, of course led by the president and his deputy?
Thank you very much, Waiga Maura. We are getting you live from Diani in Kwale County. We know that the president partially appointed his cabinet. He actually retained 6 of his cabinet secretaries. With me here is an MP from Nyeri County, Vincent Mogaka. He's going to give us an insight into what concerning the appointment that were made by the president. Maybe to start with, what's your take concerning the appointment that were made by the president?
Last week, Kenyans expected His Excellency the President to name full cabinet, but unfortunately he named only 6 members of the cabinet. Kenyans are eager to be served. Any prolonged delay in naming the cabinet in full is intended to deny Kenyans of their essential services, and it's also hurting the economy.
in naming only 6 cabinet ministers or cabinet secretaries, it confirms to us that there is a rift within the Jubilee administration, and the president and his deputy are not ready to give a full list of cabinet secretaries. And that is why we are saying that the Jubilee administration is not ready to take Kenyans to another level. They are not ready to over leadership. And that being the case, it's high time that they resign from office and hand over the administration or leadership of this country to NASA, because if they hand over the leadership to NASA, I want to assure Kenyans that we'll be able to name the full cabinet list of secretaries within 8 hours of swearing the president of NASA.
Why are you so interested with the cabinet appointment? We all know that you are a NASA MP and you guys resist. You don't recognize President Uhuru Kenyatta as the president. Why are you so concerned?
First of all, I'm a Kenyan. I'm entitled also to the services. You know, in delaying to name the full list of cabinet secretaries, the president is hurting the economy of this country, 1. 2, the president is also denying Kenyans of essential services, because the ministries cannot be able to run in the absence of ministers, because the ministers are in charge of policy making. So to say, we do not recognize the president, but he has already the instruments of power, and we've been watching very keenly if he will be able to move forward. And moving forward is first of all by naming a full list of his cabinet secretaries and also trying to assemble his government.
So are you buying into the idea of Raila being sworn in on 30th of January as the president?
Ours has been a clear way forward. First, the Jubilee administration has been given time to engage the NASA leadership in proper and structured dialogue. In the absence of that structured and proper dialogue, our position remains the same, that we will swear in Raila Amolo Odinga to be the president on 30th of this month.
That's an opinion from the MP Vincent Mogaka, West Mugirango MP. Later we'll have a conversation with residents of Kwale County at Makongeni Primary School, where there's a prize giving day. I'll be able to speak with some of the residents, maybe their take, and also to see how the education stakeholders will implement the new curriculum, because there have been hitches here and there. That's all we have from Kwale County. My name is Nikki Gitonga. Thank you very much. Back to you in studio.
Well, thank you so much, Nikki Gitonga, for that. Clearly, this topic of the cabinet eliciting mixed reactions across the country, definitely a very difficult job to satisfy all Kenyans. And of course, with 22 positions and over 40 million Kenyans, nevertheless, it's like a gamble where you try and see what you can fit in, but not everything might work. Briefly, because time is not on our side, let's talk a little bit about gender. Is it too early for the kind of speculation we've been seeing over the weekend from different groups about they feel that the 9 already named, that's not gender inclusive, etc. Are we just making, again, a lot of noise over nothing? Mary, let me start with you.
As a woman, this is something close to my heart. At least if 1 or 2 of the individuals who had been mentioned in this new cabinet had been female, or even a representation of our youth. And when we're saying youth, we're talking about somebody 35 lower than 35 in terms of their age. But let's look at the women who have had certain positions in cabinet. Amina Mohammed, she did an excellent job during the ICC process. But then after that, what? We have Judy Wahungu, who instigated the, well, let's not call it...
Overseen the plastic bag ban.
And you see, that has affected industry in a very negative manner. People have lost their jobs, certain industries have totally closed down. Did that affect her in this new cabinet? Then you have someone like Rachel Omamo. She has no background in the army, and then she's the CS in that area. Was she given a position that was too difficult for her to deal with? Then we have Hassan Wario, representing a more youthful face. And he comes out of the National Museum system, where he did an excellent job, but goes into the sports system because it's sports and culture. And this is a very, very cartel-like environment. Was he well equipped for that? That's the question now we want to see in terms of women and youth representation in this new cabinet. Okay,
Danson, I have about a minute or so. I can give you a chance to weigh in, but I'll keep you to a minute.
My take is that the president and the deputy are in sync. What they are playing is they are strategically putting the agenda slowly by slowly. Patients are not given a dose completely. You take one injection after time, you take another injection after time. So for the next whole year, they will continuously be releasing one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. The NASA story dies completely. Kenyans, keep watching.
Of course, NASA will say that their story will not die completely, but that's Dunstan Omari's take. And for one of our viewers who's watching, you say, "Hi, I'm Jeru from Embu. Kenyans are a funny lot. What do I care if my tribe is in cabinet as long as I get the services? Those are jobs and I share in the benefits. Kenyans should take charge of their own lives. A cabinet position is personal, not for a whole tribe." Let's see. If we have time after the break, I'll give you a chance to get your thoughts on that as well. Let's now take a look at